Even the baseball team got in the act and had a little fun this week and winning 2 out of 3 on the road. Oddly, I believe it's all a very good sign. In addition to hearing that James Tibbs, their best player, is coming back, some things that to maybe build upon. It's been a bit of a tough year, but they fought all the way to the end. That they did do, and that's a good sign that they've bought into what the coaches are selling. And so that's all you can say. You can't say much more than that, other than they fought. Even going back to that win against Wake Forest and then getting this series win on the road to end the year, it does show you that there was something there late. And I would argue that there were also indicators that had they just had their best pitcher this year, they would be in the postseason. They're not a good team, but they would be in the postseason.
Yeah, it could be. There's a whole lot more mortar than there are bricks right now.
Yeah.
But they'll get there.
Yeah.
But
softball team won, and in an all-time great moment. And if you think to yourself, like, if you're a Florida State athlete, if you're a player, to do something like that in that moment, to throw a perfect game, and it's not like you threw a perfect game and it was 9-0. It's a perfect game and it's 1-0. You had to kind of throw a perfect game.
We had one run in us all day.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing we used it in game 2 against South Carolina. Good thing.
I will tell you, man, it's weird to watch that team because we know how good they are and how consistently great they are. But, a year ago, that was as bitter a disappointment as you could possibly expect to see. And they were that close to having it happen again.
Well, Kat said after throwing the perfect game on ACC Network that it was part of the math. That, they were thinking about it. She was thinking about it. And if this was the final time that she was going to don the uniform, that it was going to go down, she was going to go down with everything she had.
Yeah.
So that tells me that it permeated the clubhouse. What was interesting, though, is that also in that interview on ACC Network, Kat said that this team dealt with it completely differently. They knew the stakes, but there wasn't a sense of dread. I'm implying, but there wasn't a sense of dread about the second game. It was, all right, let's go take care of business now. And I wonder if that's just the mental hurdle that needed to be cleared, because once you shank a drive and you're up next, the next hole, and you got to hit the same shot, it's a little tougher after the shank. So you got to try and clear the mechanism. Maybe this was that for this program. Now they host Georgia, and if you can roll on Big River, get to Oklahoma City, that's all that you needed to do was get over that Sunday in the regional and don't fall by the wayside the way you did against Auburn the year prior.
I think it's different with every team, and that's the hard part because, it's every season is unto itself. You have people that come and go. You get kids that graduate and the like, and so not every team is the same. We know that. And I suppose that, you learn from last year. It's a bitter disappointment. We remember the Lonnie Almeida press conference last year, and it was hard for us to fathom that it happened because they had been so good. And they weren't apt to that sort of thing. They didn't have a history of choking in the postseason. They had a history of excelling, exceeding, winning championship, that kind of a thing. And so when you saw it happen, you were kind of surprised. But you thought, okay, a hiccup, bump in the road, it can happen. It's a fickle sport. Basketball sports tend to be fickle that way. So you kind of think to yourself, all right. But then when this happened, where you're up against it now, I agree with you that I'm sure the mentality was great. But by about the 4th inning, I don't know that you're so free and clear to play. I think you're now beginning to get concerned. You're at a place now where it's kind of like, all right, man, there's 3 innings left in our seat.
Right. I'm sure that permeated the air at the facility.
You could feel it, right? You had to be able to feel that.
You could feel it through the TV. And this is one of the singularly great performances in Florida State athletics history.
Yeah, it's a great
it just
thing.
is.
Awesome,
I mean, for the softball program, I think the play by Jesse Warren in Oklahoma City might be the biggest moment in the program's history.
Certainly the greatest highlight.
This might be the biggest single performance. I know it's only a regional. They're not in the supers. This is not out at the College World Series. I get that. But it is, like you said, it's 1-0. Not one ball left the infield. Not a single ball left the infield for 7 innings in an era of softball where they can hit the ball.
Yeah.
This is not drag bunts and moving runners over. This is power-laden stuff. And South Carolina did produce 4 runs earlier, a couple hours before.
Yeah.
Not one ball out of the infield when you absolutely had to have it. Unbelievable.
Final ground ball to second, or you sit there going, now, come on.
Yeah, make the play.
You're like, it's such a simple play, and yet you watch it in slow motion because you know that it doesn't feel simple. It doesn't feel simple to the person who has to execute that play. I've often wondered, this is funny, I've done this anytime I've watched a no-hitter, anytime I've, I've been lucky enough to see one at Hauser, but to either watch it on TV or, in this case, a perfect game, which is even more, I've always thought, do fielders of any kind, I suppose outfielders, maybe if it's a pop-up, it's pretty easy, but do infielders in particular on a hard hit ball, on a ground ball, or prior to the pitch, do you want the ball to be hit to you? Because it's not the play with the glove, unless it's a hot shot. It's the throw. You got time. Now it's much harder, I would think, to make that throw from third. Making it from
Sure.
second, I mean, it's
Well,
kind of hard to screw that up.
especially in this sport.
Correct.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've always noticed is that the players handle it differently. They're all different. Some guys you've watched, they'll double pat, like they're relishing the moment and then let one go. Others, get it out of my hand. I don't want to think. This is routine.
Yeah.
I've made this play a million times. I'm not going to sit here and think about it. I just don't know what I would do in that situation.
Well, I can tell you it's edge of your seat stuff for a perfect game. If it's a no-hitter and I see that it's going to be a play or an error, I sigh of relief before the play's even made.
Right.
If it's a no-hitter, there's 2 walks, a hit batsman, whatever, and it's a ground ball to short, but we're squared up, ball's coming right to the shortstop.
Yeah.
The no-hitter's not in trouble in that moment. You already know.
Worst case scenario, we got an error.
Runner on first. We can get around this. But with a perfect game, oh, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's everything. Pick it up, make the throw. It's amazing. So there it is. Congratulations. It's an amazing moment. And then again, Brooks Koepka winning a 5th major. I think back to a couple things. And one of them is I remember, and I've been very, very fortunate. I got to do a show for 7 years with Trey Jones, Beyond the Tips on Sirius XM. And in that time, I learned so much from him. And by the way, good luck to the women and the men for the national championships in golf. They're underway. The women are.
Florida State was in 5th as a team at tea time today, and we will see. That gets you into the match play if you can get past today. Yeah. Which is also television, which I like when our Noles are on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And Golf Channel's really come a long way in the way they cover it. It's outstanding.
They usually have today as well, so you get to go home and you can watch them this evening, I believe.
Yeah. So what I learned, though, I thought back on this, watching Brooks once again rise to the moment and win a 5th major. It puts him in rarefied air. We can have conversations about that. But the truth is, what I really thought about more than anything else was his time all those years ago on the Challenge Tour and then later the European Tour. And then, it's forgotten about now because he's been so successful, obviously first with the PGA and then now with LIV, that he had to go through kind of a hellish run there for a few years. In the Challenge Tour, he referenced it last night and talked about the places he got to go. But this was a guy that was a 3-time All-American at Florida State University. So it wasn't like he wasn't a great player in college. He was.
Somebody said that yesterday too.
Yeah,
he wasn't a great player in college.
Yeah, no, he was a great player in college.
Yeah,
he was a great player in college.
Kinda.
Well, but the problem is there have been some performances in college. Phil Mickelson, for example, Ricky Fowler, for example, John Rahm, for example, where guys win national championships and individual awards and all that. He didn't do that, but he was a 3-time All-American, so he had a good college career. And that said, I'm sure, and based on what I've learned over the years, he thought he would go, and he's brimming with confidence, obviously. He thought he'd go and have it easy, that it would be sort of seamless to make his way onto the PGA Tour, have success, and be all. And it turned out not to be the case, to the point where obviously the route he had to go was a tough one. And I know, I learned this too, that he hated it at first. He was lonely. Some of the locations where he had to play, the weather was awful compared to where he grew up. He's from South Florida, so he's lived in perfect conditions or warm conditions. He was in places where it was cold and rainy. It was difficult, and he didn't know anybody. He didn't have any friends over there. When you're playing, let's say in Europe, and you're playing consistently over there, your family is in the States. They're not coming over every weekend to watch you play. They're not. So you're by yourself. And he was a lot by himself. And there was a moment in time where he reached a crossroads where he was thinking about maybe screw this, because he's never loved golf, which is kind of the thing, right? He doesn't love it. He loves the competition. He doesn't love golf. So it's sort of like, what am I doing? What am I doing out here? Yeah, it's cool. I'm getting to see places I wouldn't see otherwise, but I don't love this. It's 52 degrees and raining outside. I got to go. I'm 10 shots off the lead. I don't know anybody. I can't go see the next place, the town, because I got to leave once I miss this cut to go to the next place. You know what I mean? Like that's tough. And he got a couple of people in his life that said, you don't understand. You're immensely talented. You're going to kick yourself if you walk away from this without truly giving everything you had to make it work. And that was enough for him to stick with it. Good thing he did. Good thing he did, because the next thing you know, he broke through. And he started to have some success, which got him invites into more prestigious tournaments, which gave him an avenue by which to go to the PGA Tour. And the rest is history. He's now a 5-time major champion. He joins the likes of Byron Nelson and Seve Ballesteros. So now here you are on this esteemed list, right? 3 Wanamaker trophies. And it's interesting to watch the path of these guys. It's not always easy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they are, prodigies that make their way in, and they can't miss products. Tiger Woods did something that very few people ever do, which is have the weight of the world on his shoulders, an incredible college career, an expectation that he was going to be the best golfer in the world and soon, and then did all of those things like that, just like LeBron James did. But it's very rare. Most people don't do that, and that includes Brooks Koepka. Didn't even come close to doing that. And now here he sits. And I think the great lament that I have is that had he never been hurt, had he not gone through those injuries, I do not believe, and you can hear it in his voice in his post-round interviews, I don't think he would have ever joined LIV. I believe that he didn't think that he was ever going to get back to form. And he thought, this is a money grab, an opportunity to make more money than I could ever make, because I'm not so sure I'm going to win tournaments anymore on this tour, because I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And I just wished, it's hard in the moment. Who knows? We've had these debates. You know where I stand on LIV. But in his case personally, I do think that had he had somebody there to say, no, it's going to work. You just got to take some time off. We got to have these surgeries. You got to get right. When you're right, you're still one of the best in the world, but you're not right. You're not right now. And it's frustrating as hell. You're not a patient guy. You don't love the game. So you're not sitting around watching golf. You're not sitting around hanging around people who are golfing. You're out of the community. It's like when a football player gets hurt and he can't really be at practice and he can't contribute to what the team's doing. A lot of times he doesn't feel like he's even part of what they're doing. It's really hard. Doesn't want to be there. And you'll hear people say, well, why wasn't so-and-so on the sideline? Because he doesn't feel like he can lead, doesn't feel like he can aid the endeavor, doesn't feel like he's really part of anything. He just wants to get healthy so that he can get back out there and be respected for his game. And I think that's where Brooks was. I think it's kind of a surprise in his mind and maybe his team's mind that he got all the way back. But he's most definitely all the way back. He said now, look, I'm all the way back. I'm playing great golf. I've been playing great golf for several months now. I feel it. Obviously, the runner-up at the Masters indicated that he was in a good spot. And here you saw the guy that is unafraid, is just unafraid around every turn to make a go of it. And it's good for major championship golf to have the best players in the world competing against each other. I have to admit, as a spectator, seeing that is real high drama. This PGA Championship could not have gone any better, because I think there was a storyline for everybody. You had that drama. You had the drama of, Michael Block, which is crazy to think about. I mean, who gets to see that? It's an everyman, a dude you belly up to the bar with and have a beer after a round of golf and talk about the one you missed on 13 and the 2 you made on 4. He's that guy. And quite literally in Mission Viejo, they're showing the bar where he goes to drink and all the people are celebrating the hole-in-one.
That's a very nice clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, it's a good place. But like watching Justin Rose take care of him, and I think it was important that he got paired with Justin Rose on Saturday. Justin is, and I'm fortunate enough to have met Justin, I can tell you firsthand, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Not friends with Justin Rose, not trying to pretend I'm friends with Justin Rose, but I met him. He had no reason to talk to me, and we talked for 25 minutes, and he was the nicest guy in the world. So you have this guy that would shepherd you, that would tell you, good shot. Kind of a lot of guys out there do not do that. They aren't the nicest of competitors. So he got the right guy on Saturday, and then Rory is considered one of the great guys on the tour, and he too was very complimentary and celebrating his great shots and giving him hugs. So he took advantage of that. But to hit that chip on 18, where you're trying to finish in the top 15 so that you're exempt for next year's PGA Championship, this is the story that bad movies are made of, where you go, okay, 10 Cup, really? But it happened. He did it. He did hit the chip, and he did make the putt, and he is exempt for next year. He does get to go to the PGA Championship next season at Valhalla.
bad movies also have a clincher that when he walks off and they say, "You did it. You qualified." I had no idea.
Right.
He literally had no idea. He
Yes.
didn't know what the stakes were of getting up and down. He said, "There's no way I get up and down in that moment if I
It's
know
a
what's on
good
the
thing
line."
he didn't
Right,
know,
right.
because that's an amazing chip.
It is. It's 1 in 100, maybe more,
And he hit it.
because it has to die on the rough or the fringe in order to crawl like it did.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's rather remarkable. So this thing had everything that you could want. You had Scheffler charging back up the leaderboard as well. You have, so many players whose names are certainly well known in the golf world. So we got a lucky one this weekend. We got a good one this weekend.
It's just another chapter. Add another one. There's a list of golfers that Brooks has gone toe to toe with, and he's been mentally tougher than, or outlasted, or whatever you want to call it. Outlast, I think, is a good way to describe, Brooks and the way he wins majors, because he likes the U.S. Open setup more than he does like the PGA Championship setup traditionally. Now, the PGA has decided that they're going to be this whole different thing in the last 10 years, and I love that about the PGA. You saw Bethpage. That's essentially a U.S. Open. It's the same thing. You look at the score relative to par, all that. It's the same thing as U.S. Open. You look at this week, I think it skewed more U.S. Open than it did,
PGA of
the
America's
waste
got to be
management.
proud. That was a great championship. The course setup was awesome.
You have rough that looks kind of like a U.S. Open, but then the greens that look like Augusta. When Zach Johnson said on Wednesday that they lost the place, he couldn't have been more wrong.
And he made the cut. Shut up, Zach.
But it's just, no, they didn't. Look at it. Look
It
at what
was
we watched
perfect.
this weekend.
It was perfect.
It was before the rain. It was perfect. It wasn't like the rain saved the day.
No, it was fine.
You had everything in this major. And again, here he is, tough as nails. I feel like he's better from 215 out than he is from 115 or 140.
Yeah.
It's these long shots that he hits where he just takes your soul. And now he's stared down in his career the who's who of golf. Name anybody that's a big-time player in golf. John Rahm got the better of him in the Masters. But on a Sunday, chances are their name has been in second or third, or he's been in the final pairing with those guys, or Tiger's been 3 groups ahead and dominating on a Sunday at Bellerive. And he stared them all down and he's beat them all. It's just remarkable, the mental toughness that it takes, because it wasn't like he had 4 lucky breaks yesterday.
No,
he had a couple of terribly unlucky breaks, fought past it. You didn't see the hemming and hawing that I can't stand from country club golfers that around everywhere. They're like, "Oh, woe is me. The world is out to get me." You never see that, especially yesterday. That's quintessential Brooks Koepka on the majors.
Yeah, when he's at his best, he's certainly just locked in and not worried about what just happened, but rather what's about to happen. And I think that's the way he was again yesterday. You see, that's the confidence that he has, that he can hit all the shots, and he had to hit a lot of good shots yesterday. So, I think obviously he's a factor moving forward in these next 2 majors, which we know he will be. And he's a guy who's also a mutter. He made his move on Saturday, and you knew he would because of what I just got done describing, all those times he was in Europe playing.
The other thing that's crazy, if you like the younger crop of players that are coming up, Victor Hovland had to play out of his mind and almost did.
Yeah, he took a huge step forward, because that's a guy who around the greens has cost himself dearly. He's also missed huge putts when he's had opportunities in these kinds of moments. And yesterday was not one of those days. He made great chip after great chip from tough angles, made big putts when he had to have it. One of those was even a par putt for, I think, 6 to 8 feet. And he hit that one, which was a slippery left to right, and he hit that. I mean, I think he grew up a lot yesterday. I think for this tournament, you look at those numbers, he's going to be fine moving forward. He should. It's one of those times we say it a lot. Commentators like to do this to make people feel better. Well, I know so-and-so came up short, but they ought to take away a lot from this weekend. Most of the time, that's not true. Most of the time, they lament the weekend when they lose the tournament by a stroke or 2 strokes. Most of the time, you can think back on the Friday that you lost concentration for a moment and pulled one left and you doubled. And that double cost you the tournament. Like, those are the laments that you have in major championship golf. But this is one of those times where they could say, yeah, you did what you could. I mean, you ran up against it. I mean, that guy's a 5-time major champion. He's not afraid. It's not unlike when, listen, you're going to lose when you face John Rahm sometimes. You're going to lose when you face Scottie Scheffler sometimes. You're going to lose if you face Brooks Koepka or any of the great players in the world. Sometimes they're just going to play better than you.
Old T-Grade did it all the time.
Better than most. Better than most. There you go. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
At Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch a Penny Pool Patios and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool Patios and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, guys? Our next partner that you're going to hear from is Athletic Greens. You've heard me talk about Athletic Greens in the past. Happy to talk about them again. I take Athletic Greens every day, and I gave them a try because certainly I wanted more energy, sustained energy. I wanted to support my immune system. I don't like taking pills and vitamins per se, and I wanted something that tasted good too. And the first time I tried it, I was very surprised. It had an appreciable effect on my energy levels. And also, over time, you'll note that it helps your skin, your hair, your nails. I don't have a lot of hair, but if I did, I bet I could feel that. I bet I could tell. It's a comprehensive health habit, and it is a powerful one at that. AG1 is great for recovery. That's Athletic Greens. And I take mine basically when I wake up every morning. I don't have to worry about it because you get all the nutrients that you want. It's the best way to ensure that you're going to get all of your vitamins. It's a carbon neutral business, by the way, if that's important to you. It is to a lot of people, and that's good to know as well. I would also note that it is a comprehensive solution to what you need from a supplement routine. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs right now with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/JCS. Helps me out, guys, if you use that. Not financially, but it lets them know that you heard this ad on my show. And I do take it, and I am vouching for them because I enjoy their product. It's athleticgreens.com/JCS. Check it out. I think you'll note the difference in your life with a simple drink each and every morning to start your day. athleticgreens.com/JCS.
Easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. They have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters.
CordellCordell.com. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. 904-323-0000. 1 Independent Drive, Suite 2200, Jacksonville, Florida, 32202.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Of Florida State fans everywhere, understandably. They're fun to watch play. They're endearing, and they're really good, most importantly, and they're all those things. Do you think if you were Catherine Sandercock, you think if you were Kat, that you would begin, not she's going to go on to have a wonderful career and a successful life and do whatever she's going to do in the world, but do you think throughout the rest of her time on planet Earth, if the opportunity in casual conversation, she would drop in that she threw a perfect game to go to a super regional to win a regional? Because I would find a way, Tom, early in a conversation to work that in. And it would be weird. It'd be awkward sometimes. You'd be talking about closing on a home, and your real estate agent might ask you a question about certain preferences. You'd be like, like I'd find a way. It would get introduced somehow.
She's, helping out, maybe doing some work with a young person, being a mentor.
Yeah.
This homework's really hard, Kat. What do I do?
Well, I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah.
When I was up against it.
You know what's really hard?
Yeah.
Throwing a perfect game when you got to have it, when your team scores one run.
Facing elimination.
In the regionals.
With all the pressure in the world on you and you alone, coming through when you have to, that tells people what you're made of. And in this situation, I was made of more than most.
It was an incident, according to South Carolina. It did happen to them.
Upon them, it did occur. Yeah,
against their will.
Yeah,
couldn't get it out of the infield.
So here's the deal: get your homework done.
Yeah,
I
work
don't
harder.
want to hear this. I threw a perfect game when I had to.
Have you thrown a perfect game in a regional? No. Okay, then I don't want to hear a complaint.
Yeah,
because when you do, then we can have a discussion.
Because then you'll know what I was facing and what I overcame. But until that time,
I don't see a regional around here. Do you?
No, I just see math problems.
Is there a circle?
Let's
there
get
is
two. Yeah.
Geometry.
There we go.
Stick to your circle. I'll stick to mine, huh?
Man. Yeah, for that matter. And Dave, good point. I would talk about that hole-in-one that Michael Block made forever. Yeah. Yes, Dave, I would too. One time I was playing the PGA Championship up in Rochester, and I was partnered with Rory McIlroy on a Sunday, and hit a hole-in-one. It was a hell of a thing. It was no, I didn't win. I finished top 15, but it was a hole-in-one. Was congratulated by all, and I've got, I've saved the video. Let me show you.
Would have finished 23rd if it wasn't for this.
Yeah. Yeah. I pull it up here. It's on the YouTube. We should watch it together here. This is me and Rory McIlroy, and this is when I dunked it right here. It's funny because he didn't know he made
I didn't even know I did it. You know who told me?
Rory did. Yeah.
Give me a hug.
This is the same PGA Championship where I dominated John Rahm, amongst others, Justin Thomas. And others.
Who was it? I think it was the Golf Channel desk that rattled off all the players he beat and by how many strokes. Like they listed.
Well, he got choked up when he, yes. But did you see when he was asked?
Tony Finau by 16.
Oh,
you beat.
Boy, Tony had a rough go.
He did. You beat Justin Thomas by 11. You beat Jordan Spieth by 4. You beat John Rahm by 6. They just kept going, and you could see it wash over him. And he had different moments like that. Amanda Renner knocked it out of the park.
Oh, man, yeah.
With the question and then the revelation that it was his son who shot the video. I think everybody's hands went on their head across the country going, oh, no. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had to get up at that point. I mean, that was pretty – I was blown away. I was like, oh, man.
When I choked up is because he said he's sick. He's been sick. That's why he's not here.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So there was an instinctive reaction. He knows what the hell's going on at home. This ain't no deadbeat who's living the dream. This is a family man whose son matters greatly to him. He's sick. He's out there watching with him.
This is why you love sports. This is one of the many reasons you love sports. That story, it happens in sports and so rarely in any other realm. It is sports. It's crazy. I really did. Sometimes when something like this is happening and the media latches on to a storyline, Sister, whatever her name was, in the basketball.
Sister Jean?
Yeah, that was annoying. Anyhow,
the best thing was the overlay of Javi Baez and her throwing the first pitch from the Cubs game. And Javi swinging right over the top of it. That is an outstanding job. But I'm with you. It sullied the awesomeness of it.
Yeah.
It ruined it.
Yeah. So to me,
much like I just ruined your point.
No. My point is, again, sometimes it can get beaten to death, or it's a storyline that's nice, it's cute, it's endearing, it's interesting, but it's not worth mentioning every 5 minutes. This wasn't one of those. This was worth mentioning over and over and over again and showing every shot and watching his reaction because it was genuine, and you could tell he was overwhelmed. He was on cloud 9. He was fighting back tears throughout the round. Every time he hit a good shot and the gallery went nuts, he was like, Like, can you believe this is happening?
I also loved on 17, he tried to pull off a shot that every one of us tries to pull off and failed miserably.
Yeah.
A 3-wood that he's hitting out of the rough.
Out of the rough, into the rough. Yeah.
I don't know if he hossled it or whatever
It
he
was
did.
ugly.
It's like, woo,
We've all
there's
done
Michael
that.
Block.
Yeah.
But then, did you see what happened after the round?
Yeah.
He's got a sponsor's exemption to play on the
Oh, yeah,
PGA
watching
Tour
that,
this Thursday.
The call was incredible. Yeah. He's like, don't tell me what I think you're about to tell me. And yeah, he's going to play. This sounds like a name drop, but I was just on SiriusXM on Mad Dog with Dusty Dvorak, and his co-host was Chris.
Not the Mad Dog? No?
Not the Mad Dog himself.
Okay.
I didn't get on there with Mad Dog himself. You would
Okay, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you would have loved it. No, Chris Plank was his co-host. He was filling in for Danny. And anyhow, I did. He talked about this tournament, but we also talked about FSU. And actually, I'm going to be able to segue the FSU conversation because it was a lot about the college football playoff and the ACC and all these things that are, we're always talking about. But they were bringing up the fact that basically the entire talking point of their audience, at least what they've heard from on Twitter and the call-ins to their show, has been about Michael Block. It really has. It's not really been about Brooks or Liv or any of that other stuff. It's been about Michael Block because that was the story, and it's remarkable.
Well, and he was always going to be honored as the low touring pro not touring pro, but club pro.
PGA, yeah.
PGA professional at the ceremony. But you just can't help but realize that as it's coming down the stretch, whether it's Brooks who closes the door, this is prior to the 16 situation with Victor, whether it was Brooks or Victor or Scotty making this miraculous comeback and finishing the job with a 62 or something
like that, yeah.
The crowd was still going to go more nuts at the trophy presentation for Michael Block. It didn't matter who it was and how it was. That guy won the weekend across all sports.
Well, and none of us would know how we would handle certain situations. And you credit him because not only does he qualify, so he qualifies so that he gets to be one of the 10 that make a go of it, right? Then he makes the cut, and he's the only one of them that make the cut. So in and of itself, that's a dream. You qualified by beating all your other PGA Tour professionals, Then you beat all the ones that did qualify again, and you're the only one standing. Make the cut, which no small task. Obviously, this course played hard, and he made the cut. Now, from there, the next thing you know, you're now we're into this. I have to pinch myself. Like, how hard is it to remain focused when you find out you're going to be paired with Justin Rose on a Saturday, who's in contention? Justin Rose is in contention and has won a major. And
by definition, you are too.
Yeah. So, yes, because you're paired on a Saturday with Justin Rose, you're in contention. You're not thinking about it like that. Originally, you're thinking Justin Rose is in contention. Hey, pal, there's a reason you're paired with him. So now you know this. Now, how does your brain not go there? How do you not go to, what if I won it? What if I gave myself a chance to win it after today? Like, your brain's gonna go there. So to execute those shots and to play well under those newfound circumstances, I think that is rather remarkable.
Well, and this is where everything is relative in terms of talent, skill, and you get to the apex of any sport. It's just the 1% of the 1% that make it that far. He said that when he shot 70 the first 3 days, this is a Saturday night interview.
Yeah.
He said, I feel like I'm at a setup back home and I just fired 3 straight 64s, which for him, clearly that's the definition of exceptional.
Right.
And he goes to this setup and he shoots par 3 straight days, but he feels like he shot 64.
It's cool.
It's the round of his life 3 days in a row. And, he only shot 71 the final day. You just don't see that. You were expecting an 85 at some point, and it just never came, which is incredible because he's doing everything he can to hold it together. Everything is shaking in the car. It's coming off the road. And he gets home in +1 for the tournament. And yet that's what these guys do, and they're pissed off. If you had a touring pro shoots those exact 4 numbers.
Yeah, they're angry with themselves.
They might be breaking things in their hotel room after it's over.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
How good they are, yeah. So I'll get into that conversation that I had with Dusty and them just because it was a national perspective on Florida State and where they're at, a national perspective or question about, this keeps coming up, and it's going to keep coming up. I mean, this is now, if any of us at Warchant or anybody covering Florida State or anybody covering the ACC, this is one of the first questions that come up is, yes, the whole situation with the spring meetings at Amelia Island, but also the larger conversation about should Florida State be getting this preseason hype that they're getting. And a lot of people continue to have that conversation. We had it last week some, but every time I do one of these shows or any of us get asked to do one of these shows, it's one of the first questions. But I thought it was an interesting point from Dusty. I'll tell you what that was in just a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A double fatal car crash occurred on County Road 386 in Gulf County late Saturday evening. A 16 and 18-year-old male died. The older male from Port St. Joe was the driver. The passenger was from Weewahichka. The car went off the road onto the west shoulder of County Road 386. The car then hit a culvert, which caused the stand to become airborne. The vehicle stopped facing northbound on the west edge. Port St. Joe Junior Senior High will be providing grief counseling for students and family members who need the support. A 12-year-old boy was found dead Saturday morning, several hours after he was reported missing on his bicycle. TPD initially sent out a notice for 12-year-old Toby Wells just after midnight. The report said he was a runaway juvenile who had last been seen in the 3800 block of Broadmoor Lane. Around 2 p.m., police released an update that Wells's body had been found. Earlier in the day on Saturday, TPD reported a fatal accident involving a cyclist and a vehicle on East Tennessee Street, not far from Hillcrest Street. It is unclear at this time the two incidents are connected. This is Rachel Anea with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. High temperatures reach up to 82, east winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered thunderstorms again tonight, lows level off around 68, overcast skies. Scattered thunderstorms likely tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 78, cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
Hey, this is Dr. Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. If you have a pain in the neck, bring them to Finn Chiropractic because neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling can make your significant other or family member very irritable.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. We developed the Phenomenal Health Exam to get to the cause of your problem. You can schedule your appointment at finnchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
Whether the pain is in your neck or someone else's, come to Finn Chiropractic.
Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, you know, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Pinch a penny. I think one Tom and I over. We're thinking about buying one. Not together.
That'd have to be a big tub.
We live a good distance apart. It would be a huge tub.
Maybe we could put it on I-10.
What a
Split the
tub.
difference.
What a tub.
See that tub by mile marker 204?
I saw Jeff on one end, Tom on the other. They were listening to tunes.
Look at all these cars go by.
Happening right now, and for a limited time only, you can get discounts and rebates of up to $5,000 plus. And here's the kicker: 0% financing for 60 months. That means you can put a new hot tub in your backyard right now for as little as $99 a month. It's a good deal. It's kind of the Alonzo Mourning nod your head right there. All right, $99 a month, And that's with installation and the hot tub covers included, and that's important. I agree. So this is good stuff, and they have got a lot to choose from. I've been to that showroom. It's massive, 12,000 square feet. So there's a hot tub for everybody. And if you want to relax and you're ready to do so for just $99 a month, go check it out. Take a look and get all the answers you need. Pinch a penny on Greer Street, just off of Capitol Circle Northeast. So Dusty Dvorak covers college football, does a good job. He's on SiriusXM, Mad Dog Radio, had me on today, and we spoke, and he said, and I like this about him, got to give him credit. I'm not going to ask you whether they can win the ACC. I think that's a silly question. Of course they can, Jeff. Do you think they're a Final Four team? Because they're one of my picks, but I'm a little nervous now that everybody's picking them. That's kind of how we started the conversation. I thought that was interesting. I tend to take more credence with people that cover the sport nationally and travel and are asked to travel around the country to cover spring and fall camps, just because, admittedly, I know what I'm looking at. I know I understand the game of college football. I know I can assess and look at, depth and speed and talent. But we're not in LSU's camp every day. We're not at Florida. You name your teams, right? We're here. So every now and again, you do wonder, well, what I'm seeing, is what I'm seeing just the byproduct of Florida State being worlds better than they used to be, and therefore I'm excited to see a product that I know is viable, but maybe not as viable as some of these preseason predictions are? Or is it that I am right to think that just looking for overall depth of talent, that Florida State's offense is so good, the defense could be average, and they will be a top 4 to 5 team? And so, we ask each other these questions all the time. We talk about, there are times when we talk about this team, and I'll say, well, let's slow our roll. We all do that. It's cool when you hear it nationally, when you hear guys are like, no, I think just based on what we've seen and based on what we know at the end of last year and based on the talent coming back, and no, I think they passed the eye test. And that's another person that I've talked to nationally that have said the same thing. Doesn't make it so, but it's nice to know that it's not just us.
Yeah, there are pockets of evidence from last year that you would have to lean on. The offensive line success against Clemson, being able to push them off the ball for outside zones, something we hadn't run to that point to much success, and we were able to do it against Clemson's front. That's a nugget of wisdom that'll let you know that when Florida State improves in the trenches off of what they had in 2022, that's important. That's a big-time deal for college football, for offenses around the country. If our offensive line was already good enough to do that, and we believe as a group, Warchant.com staff, I think we all do, that the offensive line is better than it was last year. It's also deeper, of course. Then, all right, what are they capable of now? And then you look at the LSU game. Granted, both teams went on their journeys after. It's the opening week of the season for LSU. We had just played Duquesne. So it's pretty much the opener for Florida State. But that we were able to control the balance of that game on both lines of scrimmage, that is very important and a good indicator of what's to come. The bad was that Florida and Oklahoma could push us around. Their offensive lines could push our defensive line around. We think we have fixed that issue, the defensive interior
for sure, yeah.
And we'll see. But so there is a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I think it's more positive than negative because we have played teams with a pulse in the trenches throughout last season, and we did some gnarly things to them, which is good. And I think, would we all agree as a staff? I don't know. But how about you and I? Would we agree the offense is better this year? More talented? Overall, just a better product? It should be?
Much better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really close. I mean, I think they're much better on the offensive line than they were a year ago. I think they're, just with the addition of Keon Coleman alone, much better at wide receiver. Obviously, at tight end, they've taken a transformational jump. You could stop there. You already know what you have in Jordan, and you already know you have a loaded offensive backfield. So, that doesn't, just adding a difference maker on the other side and then having tight ends and being able to keep personnel on the field and force defenses to not be able to make changes because you're, versatile enough, multiple enough, it changes everything about that matchup week to week. So I think Florida State's offense is probably, and I said this, I think Florida State's offense will be elite this year. I think elite is the right. If you're a top 10 offense, you're an elite offense.
And they were borderline in most categories last year and top 15 pretty much across the board. However you want to line it up, that's what that offense was in terms of efficiency and productivity last year. If it's better, then that's great. It's funny because in the same way, I didn't appear on SiriusXM today. I wasn't beamed across the world on a satellite.
I was, Tom.
Talking to a mutual friend of ours yesterday, just asking, all right, because he's a casual fan. what's going on with the football team. And I go position by position. And once I get to the second layer of the defense into the secondary, that's when you pause a little bit. But you feel very good about every other group. I mean, really confident about every other group on offense or defense. O-line, yep. Quarterback, of course. Receiver, even better. Running back, loaded. Tight end room, what the heck is this? Look at them. Defensive interior, excellent. Defensive end, above average, thin, but the front line is excellent. Then you get to linebackers and the secondary, and it's probably good, but you have to tone it a little bit differently than everything else.
Yeah, I did. When I talked about that assessment of the team and why I liked them, I pointed out that it's not all roses. It's I think they're average at best at linebacker. They have real question marks in the secondary. So, we'll see. It's a matter of how far they've come on defense as to whether or not you could call them championship level. I just think that their offense will overcome a lot of these deficiencies. I just do, especially because I think you can stop the run. So if you're going to, they didn't stop the run against offensive lines that had a pulse last year. So that should be the biggest difference maker this year, is that they'll be able to stop the run.
That was a shot across the bow from Louisville too. Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we all harp on in retrospect what Tate was able to do in the second half, and it was amazing. And they did get some stops as the game wore on, but early on, LSU had a certain way that they liked to run the ball. They did not. They just ran right at us, and they were able to do so alarmingly that night. And it just kind of continued. Fabian was the difference. Robert Cooper had one arm. You would hope now with 6 or 7 guys that's just simply not going to happen.
Can't get here soon enough, man. That's the biggest test, because you start shutting down the run game against good teams, and you get 2 good teams in your first 4 games. You'll know what this run defense is. And if it's a good run defense, you can start talking about playoff aspirations, championship aspirations, because now obviously you go a long way in helping your elite defensive end, Jared Verse, get opportunities on 3rd and obvious to get after the quarterback. You put your secondary, which is a little green, and, we'll see what they are talent-wise, in great positions to jump routes on 3rd and obvious. You get to do that because you're stopping the run and dictating terms. This is a different-looking team when that happens. They couldn't do it a year ago.
No, and secondaries look great when a quarterback's throwing the ball right to them, but we aren't in that position that often. Last year, Jared Verse was not 100%. But when you have a defensive front that is as deep near the football and upper level talented on the outside, on the front line at least, there are going to be times where the quarterback just looks completely overwhelmed, and it's not going to be only against Syracuse or only against Virginia Tech. I think that's going to happen in every game. The question is, do you come away with the turnover? Remember, that was the challenge from Adam Fuller in spring.
Yeah.
We're putting ourselves in position to make plays. I would like to see us finish, please. And we saw that in practice.
Yeah, and I don't know. I asked that question to Mike Norvell after a practice, and he gave me the point of emphasis and how it is that Patrick Surtain is trying to get these guys to think that way, but we'll see. I don't know. I usually think it's a byproduct of having down and distance leverage repeatedly.
There's a question in the chat from Buffalo Tom about Deuce Cypress, Ventral Cypress, and that was supposed to be set it and forget it the moment that he came through the portal, and it just wasn't so in spring.
Yeah, I'm willing to give that a pass because he's learning a new defense,
and he's also been there, done that in spring. How many times?
Probably bored,
but let's just say in fall, for argument's sake, that he looks like the player that Pro Football Focus, for example, says that he is. That also changes the math dramatically.
Well, I hope it is, because there was no reason to believe you were going to have much more than average play at corner coming out of camp. Renardo Green's a nice player. He's not an elite difference maker. He's just starting corner for you. You thought Ventral Cypress would come in and be a plus corner for you. He didn't look like it in camp. Doesn't mean he can't be. He just didn't look like it in camp. There was really nobody else that you looked at in camp and said, well, there's the difference maker. That's the guy. No, there's no Jalen Ramsey's out there. Now, granted, Jalen, that's a high bar, but I'm saying, championship level teams have people that are that kind of difference maker.
We take a Samuel or a Rhodes or, something.
Yeah. So I don't see that right now, but doesn't mean it can't happen. Doesn't mean that we don't get out there in the fall and Ventrell kind of has a better understanding of his whereabouts, and he's transitioned well to living here and getting to know his teammates and understanding the scheme and what the coaches want, how to play off certain guys. Yeah, all of that can can absolutely happen. I don't look at one spring and say, well, it's fruitless.
Let me ask you about trust in Jordan Travis. Do you trust him enough that we won't have an issue trying to be multiple things at once offensively?
No, I do. I trust him. I don't worry about it because I really like the duo of Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins. I think they put our guys in great positions to succeed. I think they understand from a game plan standpoint how to attack defenses. And I think Jordan's come a long way in pre-snap stuff. So, no, I really –
yeah, it's the pre-snap stuff that'll get you into something else.
Yeah.
They've lauded that from before he was being a consistent thrower of the ball in the pocket.
Yeah, I don't really worry about Jordan. I did prior to last year. He won me over and won everybody else over and proved me wrong and proved a lot of other people wrong. And I say, good on you, young man. That's an amazing accomplishment at that position. You just don't see a lot of guys do that, go from being one kind of player at quarterback to this whole other kind of player. But he did. And he deserves all the credit in the world for that, to the point where I just don't even – it's never on my radar. I think he's going to be fine. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
This is your stomach speaking. It's time to eat again. We met deadlines and closed out the workday like a boss. The last thing you want to do is cook dinner. Even worse, pick up any fast food garbage. We need something good, something local. We need foodiestakeout.com. An all-star lineup of local spots like Smitty's Tap House, El Jalisco, Jerry's Cafe, Hangar 38, Metro Deli, and more. It's so easy. Just choose pickup or delivery, and let's eat the good stuff. I'm growling already. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
In 1945, Jack Whitten started a glass company in Tallahassee. Now over 75 years and 3 generations later, it's still working every day, doing just as Jack wanted, giving his customers real solutions for replacing window glass, providing custom-cut mirrors, and supplying superior bath and shower enclosures. Local building contractors know Whitten Glass takes care of Tallahassee business. They prefer Whitten because of their precision and mastery of eye-catching storefront glass and countertop glass. It's a fact. When you choose Whitten Glass, you're working with real glass people who will take care of you to your complete satisfaction. It's what Jack Whitten wanted, and it's been the Whitten way of doing business for over 75 years. Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945. Call Whitten Glass today or visit them online, 850-222-5781 or whittenglass.com.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Lakers down 3 games tonight, looking to remain alive with a win in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals today. Lakers a 3.5-point favorite, total 225 at Crypto.com Arena. The Heat by 26 over the Celtics, 128-102 as a 4.5-point underdog.
to take a 3-games-to-none lead to the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 4 tomorrow. Miami a 1.5 favorite to close out the series. Total 216. NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Eastern Conference Final. Florida up 2-games-to-none on Carolina. Panthers $1.15 home favorite. Carolina minus 105. 5.5 flat the total today of the Florida Live Arena. Start betting smarter with the betting intelligence app Juice Reel. Download the free app today. Juice, REEL. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window. Bold banner at Barry's Barbershop. Prominent poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. To try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
From Staples, and I couldn't miss it.
N617. Visit staplesconnect.com/printbig for details.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore his seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270146.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hour talk of a perfect game as Kat did something truly special that will, in the annals of Florida State athletics, be remembered for a very, very long time, certainly forever, by her and her teammates and those that love this softball program, which is easy to love. They play a great brand of softball, and they're fun and they're successful. And throwing a perfect game when you had to have it is a hell of a thing. So congrats to Florida State softball moving on. Now, the sold-out Super Regional in 1 minute is how quickly it sold out. So Florida State moves on, as they should have. They came that close to maybe a second year in a row of shockingly disappointing endings, but alas.
Get a crack at it quickly. It's a Thursday to Saturday.
Yeah.
I like that in case there's weather. You always have that extra day to push it back. I don't like it getting into that following week. So hopefully they handle business against Georgia and take it down in 2. We will see. I've got a working theory that the one run produced yesterday all day, we made it really count. Kat Sandercock made it stand up.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah. Can that be the mental hurdle that is cleared? Is that what that was? They were scared of repeating what they did last year when an SEC team rolled into town and beat us heads up in a regional, not even a super. And maybe that allows them to play loose and free and bring the bats to the party on Thursday and Friday nights.
Irish FL will join us at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about that, talk about some of the other stuff that we have on the site right now on warchant.com as well, including an article about Mike Norvell, other ACC coaches sounding off about frustrations with player tampering. Hey, look, man, I don't think that's going away. I'll get into some of that in a bit. Yes, we talked about Brooks Koepka winning his 5th major. And steely-eyed and focused as he was, a lot of weight on his shoulders there, and he is clearly all the way back. And now that puts him in a realm that is rarefied air in the world of professional golf. When you think about it, I mentioned it last hour, but pretty cool. You're walking around thinking to yourself, "Yeah, I'm there with Seve Ballesteros and Byron Nelson, amongst others."
And post Tiger, post Phil, I am the most decorated major champion that there is. It's not Rory. It's not Jordan Spieth. Despite how many specials were held about how great they are, it's me. I did it.
Well, if you want to know just how great, there are a lot of levels of conversation to be had here, but I'll read directly from Kyle Porter, who does a very good job of covering golf, obviously, for CBS. And this alone kind of overwhelmed me, by the way. This is crazy. On July 13th, 1968, Gary Player won his 5th major, the 97th Open Championship at Carnoustie. Since Player raised the 5th of what would eventually be 9 major trophies, I always forget that Gary Player won 9. I don't know how, because he won't let you forget.
That's
but
correct.
I do somehow forget that.
I've shot my age or better 2,140 times now.
Yeah.
In a row.
Representing the biggest championships in golf, 20,035 days have elapsed. Nearly 55 years since that moment. Only 7 of those days have ended with a men's golfer winning his 5th major championship, 0.03%. Today was one of those 7 days. He goes on to write, and then I'll stop. True history is made so rarely in golf. The sport mostly involves a factory of unknown, unrecognizable players plodding along at a variety of mostly meaningless events. The harsh reality of golf is that it mostly happens in obscurity, documenting by nothing but scores and finishes and sometimes money. Millions of professional golf shots are hit every year, and the overwhelming majority, in fact, nearly all of them, really don't matter much. On the opposite end of the spectrum, though, is this truth. All 271 shots Brooks Koepka hit this weekend at the 2023 PGA Championship go directly into the cannon. That's because with his victory by 2 strokes over Victor Hovland and Scotty Scheffler, Koepka joined a comically good and very short list. Since that Open won by Player 55 years ago, only 6 men have ever won a 5th major since that time. Tom Watson, Lee Trevino, Nick Faldo, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Seve Ballesteros, Brooks Koepka. Pretty crazy.
That is crazy. And I will tell you, without knowing as much about Brooks behind the scenes as you do, that he would say preach to that article, not because it's touting his, efforts and his accolades, but because golf is largely meaningless. I think he would lean into that idea that most of it is. That's why he doesn't like the regular tour events.
Yeah, there's multiple factors as to why he does it, but yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, this
is big time. This is where it's all about. And he wasn't afraid. I mean, he was paired with Scotty the first 2 days, and Scotty Scheffler was 3 or 4 shots ahead at the 36-hole mark. But then he just goes to battle, and he just refuses. And he looks healthy, and he's hitting the shots that he hit in order to win the first 4 majors. This isn't an accident. This isn't, this course set up perfectly for him. He's carving shots from 200 plus. He's hitting wedges and sticking them to a few feet. He was 13th in strokes gained putting this weekend. That's one thing that you probably wouldn't know. You would think about strokes gained off the tee or approach. He dominated. Top 15 putting, and he was top 10 everywhere else.
Well, and that putting statistic is helped out by the proximity of the hole statistic, which is really remarkable because it's hard to get it close. If you go and look at the first 4 holes of this tournament, and he birdies 3 of them on a day where you want to set the tone, proximity to the hole, no laying up, gets credit for this. Number 1, 26 feet for the field. Number 2, 25 feet. Number 3, 39 feet. Nobody could get it close there, by the way. Number 4, 38 feet. Okay, now, heads up. Comparison, Brooks Koepka. 26 feet for the field, 16 for Brooks Koepka. 25 feet for the field on number 2, 4 feet for Brooks Koepka. 39 feet on number 3 for the field, 4 feet for Brooks Koepka. 38 feet for the field on number 4, 9 feet for Brooks Koepka. That is...
He made a mockery of the first 4 holes of this thing.
That's the front on the table, buddy.
Then the front 9's the hard 9 on that course.
So it was, something to behold. It was cool. It was cool. He played confidently, and that guarantees you, I think, moving forward, if you had question marks. I don't know that you did after the Masters because he was right there as well. But that guarantees you moving forward that guy, again, barring injury, and he seems to be fully recovered from all of those now, he'll be right there in contention in these other 2 majors.
There's a winners only pool in one of our favorite watering holes in town. I won't, overwhelm them with signups by putting it out on the air, but it's winners only, and it's just you go by the odds that so people check off. I think for the U.S. Open, Brooks now becomes number 1 pick, number 2 pick, has to be. It's a U.S. Open, and it's him, and he's back. This is made for him.
And it's somewhere he likes. So, yes, I think, I mean, it'll be interesting. Yeah, he's obviously the favorite. Yeah.
But he's gone from, again, in that setting of you got to pick the winner. Maybe the 15th pick, for this major because of what he did at the Masters.
Right.
But, I mean, he wasn't top 5.
No, he was not.
Not even in Tallahassee. I don't know if he's top 5.
Yeah, he wasn't in my league, in the other league that I'm in.
But now, it's the U.S. freaking Open, man. Look out.
Well, what you want in these situations is you want, okay, so let's say he's playing great, which he is, and Scotty Scheffler and, John Rahm, and then you want the best players in the world going at it. One thing's for sure, we've talked about this lately with majors, period. I'll move on from golf. The best players in the world are winning them. This is now a stretch where it's not some like, oh, really? Willie Smith won at Augusta. Didn't see that coming. No, it's been like, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas last year won the PGA Championship. Brooks Koepka this year. The winners have been studs. Cam Smith at the British. I mean, they've all been world-class players, mostly in their 20s. It's been pretty easy to project that it's going to be from this group of, 15 guys. Are you young? Are you in the top 30 in the world? Are you in form? That's kind of where you're going when you sit down, which, for years was not always that way, where you'd sit around and you talk a little bit about guys, horses for courses, and guys that could come out of left field, that kind of thing. It's been pretty down the line, the best players in the world.
So since Danny Willett won in 2016, we'll jump ahead a year to 2017. And I'll just run down the names real fast.
So that's 6 years worth of majors. Yeah.
Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Justin Thomas, Sergio Garcia, Francesco Molinari, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, Shane Lowry, Woodland, Koepka, Woods. Remember that one?
Tiger.
DeChambeau, Colin Morikawa, DJ, Morikawa, Rahm, Mickelson, Matsuyama, Cam Smith, Matt Fitzpatrick, who's shot on 72 out of the bunker. We should all appreciate more after what Corey Connors and Victor Hovland did these last couple of days.
Correct.
JT, Scheffler, Rahm, Brooks. End of story.
It's elite players. It's all top 50 players, top 40
Molinari
players.
is the only one maybe that sticks out, but he was dominant
At the
that period of
time. He was the hottest golfer in the world. He was playing like the number one player in the world. So yeah, it is rather remarkable. It's true. That story that Ira wrote, I want to talk to him about that, and I segue over to football here. I always wonder how coaches handle the conversation centered around player tampering, because we don't have the marriage just yet, at least not on the up and up, to where the collectives are in-house. So, you'd be naive to suggest that these collectives and the coaching staffs aren't in communication. They are openly able to promote these collectives. So that they tell you their opinion of who's trustworthy and who's not. But it's not the same as sitting down and saying, hey, target this guy off that guy's roster. It's like, we really need a tight end. And there's a good one in the SEC that I've been looking at. What's his story? He's from around these parts. I'm just saying, does anybody know that guy's story? Like, how does it work?
Also, with legislation for the NIL, how is that going to work too? As these states protect universities from, NCAA enforcement with NIL, could that be extended to tampering? And if so, at what point is Sark FaceTiming people from the state of Texas after they're walking off the field and they're getting interviewed by who's the best, who's the sideline reporter these days, whatever. And they're done with the interview and you see that their phone is in their hand and there's Steve Sarkisian, FaceTime request. Is that where this is all going? There has to be a clapback, so to speak. It's got to be coming.
Well, it is a problem, and it's terrible for the game. And look, I'm not so naive as to suggest that there aren't overtures made by our staff. I don't know that. Or certainly there are from others. We know that.
I would hope there are. That's the name of the game these days.
Yeah,
I would hope.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know what you would classify as tampering, but certainly reaching out to kids who are on scholarship somewhere else would seem to fall into that umbrella. It's interesting because we know for a fact, and it seems to be an open book, that there were players sought after by Ruiz in Miami on this roster. I mean, just open offers of money to come play football at Miami and leave Florida State. We know that happened. Now, ordinarily, I would be like enraged by this, and I would go on a diatribe about this. But glass houses. I'm not saying we've done that. I just don't know that we haven't.
I think the proper way to put the same thing with basketball recruiting too over the years.
You're kind of like,
Leonard signed another top 10 class.
That's amazing.
Oh, I'll be.
Yeah,
that must be one hell of a pitch.
Yeah,
but it's akin to me. The analogy would be KB, Kelvin Benjamin, down in the swamp in 2013. What's happening to him is illegal. What the secondary is doing to Kelvin Benjamin is illegal. You got two choices there.
Yeah.
Continue to whine about how this is illegal and not called, or chuck a kid back into his bench.
Right.
And that's where I hope we are as a football program, that, this ain't allowed, but we need to be Kelvin Benjamin. Once he realized that this is how it's going to be, you've got to at least say, I'm going to embrace that. If there's no flag, then you better not throw a flag for this.
Well, you know that we are, by the way, because there's getting to be behind the scenes pushback from the Georgias and Alabamas of the world about Florida State making inroads in the world of recruiting. So that is not happening by accident. And you've gotten kids in the tight ends case who had committed to Georgia to then decide, lo and behold, I want to go to Florida State. So we're doing our fair share of pushing back, as you call it. Yes.
We're starting to perturb Nick Saban and Kirby Smart.
It's a wonderful thing. It's what you ought to be doing. It ought to be a constant source of agitation for those two gentlemen, amongst others. It ought to be, and them us. That's what this is. It's the big fight for the best players in a region of the country that has an abundance of them.
What needs to happen in Tuscaloosa and Athens is the student reporter is coming to get a feature piece on Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. They're sitting down and waiting, and the assistant says, hang on a minute. Just hang on a minute. You hear a GD bomb echoing off the walls of the office, and the kid is getting scared. And she says, it's okay. It's just Florida State again. They're really pissing coach off. So just give him a minute. Florida State did it again.
They did it again. Yeah.
Just, you can go in a minute, but he usually needs a couple of minutes after Florida State gets him again.
I just like that we're reaching a place now where the frustration of those you're seeking to compete against for national championships It's happened now. It's an agitation. It's Florida State. Damn it. You got another guy from us. All right, now. That wasn't funny the first time it happened, but I thought of it as a fluke, and the kid's from there. What are we doing now? What's going on here? Like that kind of conversation, I want that to be the norm. You know you're in a good spot when everybody that cheats in college football is the one accusing you of cheating. What you want are all of the known cheaters who have prospered greatly from cheating to be like, this Florida State stuff is ridiculous. They are cheating their ass off. It is the ultimate in hubris. It is wondrous when it happens, and it makes me smile.
It happened to Jimbo for a minute. He looked cool for a minute there because Nick is complaining that he bought the class. Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking to a bunch of 1% boosters, you're saying that they bought the class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now we don't do that around here, okay? That was classic. Irashafel, Warchant.com. He'll join us in a few minutes. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore because Dave got a new grill from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 Berry Books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
At Pinch-A-Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch-A-Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch-A-Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
It is the afternoon. It is 2:30.
I have communicated with Director Matthew, who is off-site but in town, that he needs to be nimble because there are rumblings in the distance, but it doesn't sound like it did last week, a couple of those days, thankfully.
Yeah, so there's wallpaper issues over my left shoulder. Is that right?
It could be over your right shoulder.
It's my
stage
right.
left.
Oh, it's my
Stage
right
left.
shoulder. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
For heaven's sake, I always enjoy that phrase.
No, because I like it, Vic, that you're pointing this out. You know why? It's bothering you. You've watched the show enough that it's consistently there, and you're going, what the hell? But here's the problem. I can't show you this, or I would, and this is great radio for those that can't see any of it. To my right is this. There's another part of this desk that the computer sits on that also has all of our commercial stop sets here. It's the WVFT. You can see what's coming from the break and everything else. So this is not something that you can fix necessarily. I mean, I guess we could get.
You could pan the camera, I guess, a little bit, but then that doesn't square up the video screen. For
No.
the,
there's stuff I can't really. I will try to. It's bothering me now that you pointed it out, Vic. Now
It
that
worked.
it
It worked.
Vic, you win.
We just got to zoom in a little bit. Looks like your Zoom got reset.
I'm fine with it. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to get this fixed. Oh my goodness.
Go erase it.
Yeah. What do you got? Debt? I'm gonna tell you this, and we'll have Ira on here in just a second. About 2 minutes from now, we'll get into another conversation. Hang in there, Briley. June's not gonna be long. June's gonna go rapid fire. It's my experience.
When you experience how much vacation
that I have
can take.
Yeah. Listen, I take a lot of vacation because I get a lot of vacation. What do you want me to do? No. So this is here's the deal. June will go by. You can look at it two ways. Briley's making the point that hey man, June's gonna be tough to get through because we're also eagerly anticipating what's coming up in the fall, and that's the dead of summer, dog days, the whole thing. It can be rough. It can be rough. But I also think when you're eagerly anticipating something and you're examining it backwards and forwards and you're having guests on, we now have lots of people we can have on the air throughout the On3 network, but also people that I've gotten to know over the many years in this industry. And I'm going to make it a point throughout June to do that, to bridge the gap.
Also, June is next week. May has flown by.
May is almost here.
May
almost done.
It's done.
Almost done. Might as well be done.
That's right. You did a little shimmy. For the folks in the radio, that was a shimmy. It was 4.5 stars.
It drives me nuts to think about the fact that another year has gone by that quickly. When you get to be 51, as I am, it just fly by.
I know. Yeah, we're not quite at the halfway point.
Woo!
But we are racing towards it this year.
It's nuts. And then I think the other part of that is that
next thing you know, we'll be in Ireland.
Well, it's a busy time, and we've got a lot that we've got to get accomplished, a lot that we're going to do, a lot that we're excited about, because this team is going to be an absolute joy to cover. They've got players that are, not only interesting and talented, but kind of affable guys that will sit down with you. You got a coaching staff who encourages it, a coaching staff that, has no problem also coming on. And so it's a little bit different than in years past, where you have a nice marriage of a talented team, a likable, affable bunch that's willing to talk, and a coaching staff that encourages all of that. That will help bridge that
Definitely.
downtime. Yeah.
You get some field reports from LSU for that mega game.
I'll
As
have Moscona come on here and we'll talk. He's good at what he does.
he
Absolutely.
is,
Yeah.
and then as some matters are settled in the portal, as we finalize a couple of positions on the roster, I'm not going to look because I don't want to laugh.
No. I was just thinking about something that's funny.
Okay.
There's the Cy-Hawk trophy. Yes.
Cy-Hawk
There
trophy.
you go. There you go.
You talk to these coaches, you want to get them after their position is settled. Who the extra scholars are going to be awarded to. But I would love to hear from, maybe the defensive backs coach or the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
After they fill out these couple of remaining spots, and where do they go? Why did they go at defensive end? Why did they go to safety? Why did they go to linebacker? Whatever those questions are. But they'll be open and honest. They'll talk about
they
it.
like having those conversations. Well, I don't know if they like it, but they're open to it, which I also appreciate. Ira Shafel, managing editor, Warchant.com. He will be on with me tonight. I will be on with him tonight. It is time for the Monday Smash. I got to tell you something, Ira. We're not holding back tonight. I'm drinking. I want you to know we're going to go ahead and pop a cold one during the Smash, buddy.
All right, but not the hard stuff. Though.
No, not the hard stuff. No, it's just late May. We'll keep it within reason. It's just going to be an ice cold beer or two or three while we do the Smash. It'll be a good time.
Sounds perfect. I'm ready.
Do you have your red stripe? Do you need me to swing by and drop any off to you on my way home?
Maybe I'll make a run real quick. Maybe I'll make a run to the store real quick.
You want that? You want what's the other one? You also like whatchamacallit from Boston up there.
Sam Adams?
Yeah. You want me to get you some Sam Adams?
No, I'm good, man. I'll take care of it. I'll get it. I appreciate that.
It's right on my way home. I just want to make sure you
Sir, you're being pushy.
We're going to have a good Monday, and I want to invite everybody in for this great Monday. We're celebrating the start of summer. Now my kids are going to be out of school, and, that's good and bad. It's a good and bad situation.
It's a good situation.
It is. It is a good situation. Okay, where do we start? You want to start with a perfect game when you have to have it?
That was pretty special, man. That was pretty special.
Pretty damn cool.
I was thinking, and again, I think they would have, I think Florida State, I thought Florida State played well. That was a game, the score 1-0 makes it look like the offense wasn't very good. They actually had 2 or 3 opportunities to score where, you got to give South Carolina credit. They made bang plays. Maybe Florida State was a little too aggressive and ran themselves out of a couple of things, but that's how they play. They are aggressive, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I thought they were the better team. I thought they played better, but Sandercock just was unbelievable. They didn't make contact. They literally never hit the ball sharply. They never hit the ball out of the infield. It was as dominant a performance, as you'll ever see in a moment like that. It was really cool.
It is cool. I always like to see moments that, kind of maybe change a person's life, or it is certainly something that is going to be remembered or will be held on to and lauded forevermore. It's cool when you're fortunate enough to cover a program and witness a moment like that, like you are and I am sometimes, and we get to be places and you see these, holy moly, that never can be taken away. That catch, that play, that moment when they had to have it. And this is one of those. So congratulations to them. And now they've sold out in 1 minute and ready to go for the Super Regional, which is nice. By the way, Ira, do you take anything away? I don't know. I made it a mention in passing. I do think it's kind of cool that Florida State won their final series in baseball and did take a game from Wake and won 2 of 3 from Louisville. I guess what I liked about it, they weren't a good team. This was a nightmarish year, but obviously they didn't quit, and they do believe in and bought into Link and his staff. Otherwise, you wouldn't see that fight in a lost year.
No, I think it definitely means something. It doesn't mean a ton.
Right.
but it does mean something. Because look, man, they when they went to that stretch of losing 19 out of 20 games or 20 out of 21, whatever it was, you could definitely question whether or not those guys were buying in at that point, and whether they believed in themselves and whether they had just kind of cashed it in. Now there was a lot of 1-run games in there. They had some bad luck. They just could not. The deficiency in the bullpen cost them a lot of opportunities to win games. But you also just wondered sometimes whether or not they were really really believed that they could win those games.
Mhm.
And then for them to come through that and then come to the other side to where they were competitive again, even in some of the losses to Wake Forest, they looked like a better team. And then they did get the win in the last game. They fought for it. And then they, beat a Kennesaw State team who's not great. But again, I think they beat Mercer in the last few weeks. They beat a couple teams that earlier in the year they wouldn't have beaten anybody.
That's true.
I do take something from it. And then to go win 2 out of 3 at Louisville when Louisville is desperately trying to get into the postseason. But, that speaks to the fact that Louisville's not a good baseball team, but still they were a very motivated baseball team. So it's, I think it's a big deal. And, I don't know how many of those guys are going to be back next year, but the ones who do, I think can build off.
Well, we know Tibbs is coming back. He said so. So that's exciting. And that is surprising as well. So something to celebrate maybe moving forward there, as he's a very good baseball player. All right, now to football, which is where we want to go. And you and I will talk about this more tonight, obviously, on the Smash, and I look forward to it. You wrote an article. It's up on our website right now, warchant.com, that does touch on something that we've talked about on the airwaves some, which is coaches sounding off about frustrations with player tampering. It's interesting to note that in that article, you had Dave Clawson speak on this and noted that nothing is being done about it at all. Is there anything that can be done about it? Because, as you point out in the article, the hard part is substantiating this.
No, it's exactly. I asked him. I said, the NCAA has come out a couple of times in the last 6 months or so saying that they're going to, now get involved if they have indications of NIL being used in recruiting or tampering and that type of thing. Are you seeing any signs of that? And he goes, not at all.
Yeah.
It's and again, he kind of like didn't really fault them. One of the things that Dave Clawson said, and I think Mike Norvell kind of said similar things, was, you can't really operate anymore with the old rules or the old NCAA. It's an antiquated system of oversight with a whole new age set of concerns and problems. And so how do you investigate these things? How do you look into these things? Back in the day, people that remember the Foot Locker scandal, and that was probably one of the first times we heard the phrase runner or street agent.
Mm-hmm.
In that time frame, those were guys who would maybe get money from agents to provide benefits to college football players in the hopes of signing those guys as NFL when they started their NFL or NBA careers. Well, now those street agents are working as intermediaries for other schools to recruit players to other schools using NIL. And so that's but how do you track that? And if you do track it, how do you put it back on a particular school? So it's difficult. I mean, I don't know if there's a solution for it.
Makes me laugh to think back on the things that people were outraged over, like a simple hookup. I would have been arrested according to some of these people for my hookup at the old Turtles record exchange, man. I roll in there and get a 2-for-1 on tapes or albums back in the day if my girl was working. That said, I do think it's interesting where Mike Norvell noted, and I believe this is the frustrating aspect of what we see here. I feel bad for kids when this happens, and I've said this before. The only ugly part of all this that I really loathe and now has happened more than once is, okay, a kid gets lured by this idea, but one of these runners tells them, I've got a better deal for you over here. This is an opportunity. This school's willing to come and meet you here. They think that you're worth more than what you're making currently with the NIL in Tallahassee. And if you just put your name in that portal, we're going to sit down and talk about this and we're good to go. And they do that. And then that reality, as Mike Norvell pointed out, changes. All of a sudden that deal, it never existed in all likelihood, or it's changed dramatically. All of a sudden 300,000 is 50,000 and you're stuck. You've alienated your teammates. You've ruined your relationship with the staff and you're just out there in the wind. I know a lot of people roll their eyes and say, well, tough luck, man. You should have known better. But a lot of times these are very influential kids and they get told a lot of things and they don't have representation and they get taken advantage of. That kind of stuff really sucks.
It does. And, that's one of the things that I think Mike Norvell was talking about was just the need for maybe, certified agents or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For people to be involved in the process that are educated, that can have, intelligent decisions, help the players make intelligent decisions. Because one of the things, right now is, as you said, that's the perfect example. the other example he mentioned, and we've heard cases of, is there's a lot of things that have to be in place for a player to transfer and have success immediately in his new school. One of those things is you have to be able to get into that school academically. And a lot of times when players transfer, with the NCAA's academic progress regulations they have in place, it's easier for you to stay eligible at your current school than it is to go transfer to another school. We just saw, I think there was a high-profile case in basketball recently where a basketball player transferred to another school and he couldn't get in. So he's back in the portal again, and that's something that happens as well. And if you're dealing with street agents or runners, and then they're going as intermediaries with another school, well, who's actually checking the transcripts to know you can actually get into that school?
Yeah.
And if you can't, maybe how long are you going to have to sit out? So there's just a lot of, basically what's going on right now is you take all of this away from the schools and the people who actually have the information, and put a lot of these decisions in the hands of people who don't have all the information, and ultimately it's going to cost the players.
Talk to you tonight, my brother, for the Monday Smash. Looking forward to it. 7:00. You and I will have a good conversation and a cold beer together. And anybody else that wants to join us, I look forward to it. Be well, man.
Me too. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep, absolutely. Irish FL, Warchant.com, managing editor. It'll be fun tonight.
That's very true that Mike Norvell clearly has no time for uncertified, non-certified, whatever you want to say, agents and representatives. Because when there was the breakout interview at Amelia Island, and the media moved off of the questions about realignment or rules or whatever, and they got to that, he found a way to inject that particular term of agents or runners multiple times into his answer. And you could see this was another one of those interviews in which Mike Norvell, the decibel count is low, and he is talking to you like he would talk to us off the record. He had that fiery look in his eye, as though Tate Rodemaker made a poor decision in the spring game when he said
that
those
look,
words.
yeah.
You're like, "Ooh, all right."
Well,
I could tell you've been through some stress, Mr. Norvell. I see.
I do think, look, without getting into too many details, I've learned enough during this process and talking with people who do know that is a very real problem, that you have these street agents, runners, however you'd like, whatever you want to classify them as, doing work that is in no way beneficial to the kid. Like, so you're getting a guy who it's almost just sabotage for the sake of sabotage. So you've got a guy who's paid by a school, presumably, to just get a kid to put his name in the portal. Like, just convince the kid that there's something else out there for him that's better than what he currently has. And they're knowingly doing this despite the fact there is no offer.
Right,
They
sabotage.
they just want the kid to not be a member of your team. They can go somewhere else, but they don't want him there. So this is the stuff that can happen in the state with rivals, and really presumably anywhere. This is where, like, Michigan would do that to Ohio State, and Ohio State would do that to Michigan, and Florida State would do that to Florida, and Florida would do it to Florida State or Miami. You get my point here. This is this is the classic with me and you saying, hey, look, man, I speed. I don't go the speed limit. If speed limit's 70, there's a good chance I'm going 78. I mean, I just am. But we can't be going 108. Now, come on now. So this is kind of where you're at with that. Like, you got a guy out here just trying to get a player to put his name in the portal, and you don't have any plans whatsoever to offer him any kind of a real deal at all.
Right.
Man, get the hell up out of here with that.
That's just gross.
It's gross. It is. Yes.
If you were trying to get the player, that's one thing, and it's not great. That is tampering all the way. But if you're just trying to get the player because you would be better for it,
you'd be better that he not play against you.
Yeah, I could understand that line of thinking. No, I'm saying if you're in Gainesville and you want to poach a kid from Florida State,
you offer a playing time, whatever it might be. Yeah,
young running back wants to come down. Let's get him. Let's go hop. Make it happen. But if you're trying to just get him off the roster and fracture the relationship that he's formed,
correct,
just for chaos' sake, because he can't put it back together and
I want to watch the world burn, and I don't want to see you succeed. So here you go. I'm going to make this up.
That's
it's a special kind of hell.
Messed up, man.
Yeah, that's how ass kickings happen. That's where people have to. It's not a conversation anymore.
No, that's where the voices would be raised. Maybe like the athletic director's ballroom last week in Amelia Island, which is just still stunning to know that There was some
I love that.
boiling blood last week.
It just makes me think of the player haters ball, and I keep laughing thinking about that when he's. Oh, just to go revisit that, how wonderful it is. Oh, don't you try to think of the one who's your favorite?
Yeah,
There's several. You can't.
Even if I got it down verbatim, I couldn't say it.
You can't say it. You can't say it, but it's also good. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A bicyclist was killed in a collision with a vehicle early Saturday morning in Tallahassee, according to the Tallahassee Police Department. A department watch commander confirmed the incident happened along the 1000 block of East Tennessee Street near Hillcrest Street. Tennessee Street was closed from Hillcrest to Magnolia Drive in both directions for several hours. The investigation is open and ongoing. This is the last week of school in Leon County, and the district is asking that kids leave their backpacks at home. Jimmy Williams, the head of safety, security, and emergency management for the school district, said this practice has been in place for several years to ensure safety on school campuses. The goal is to discourage students from bringing weapons or doing pranks the last week of school. If you have any questions about the policy, you can reach out to your child's teacher. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Scattered thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Highs around 82, winds out of the east 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight, scattered thunderstorms likely, lows dip down to about 68. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 78, cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 71.
Did you know metal roofs' survivability far exceeds that of traditional shingle roofs? It's time to consider a metal roof from Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. We provide the best quality, least expensive material and accessories in the area, as well as material pickup and delivery. Our painted panels qualify for the City of Tallahassee's low-interest Energy Star loan program also. And don't forget about our veteran and law enforcement discount. Give Metal Roofing Sales a call today at 536-9123, 536-9123.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Thing last week, and every kid sat up there and played and did whatever piece, and I told you he did the Bach minuet and
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
So it was cool, and every parent is there, family members, loved ones, whatever, and you're watching. There was a kid that got up there and did an original piece, and you could tell he's completely overwhelmingly influenced by the war on drugs.
Oh, really? That's
it was
cool.
fantastic, and it was real. It was that
synth.
It was synth. He did that, and it was
nice.
really good. It was really good. I was like, oh, okay, I see, buddy. Had the long hair, just like Kurt Vile. Yeah. I was like, okay, buddy.
And he was about the same age.
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I have no idea.
He gets to 18. Let's get him to the corner pocket on a Friday happy hour.
He was.
There you go.
I don't think you'd want to do that. It would be depressing. Actually, it was dark. It was more on the tender side, sad side of what they do.
So that would be Monday lunch. We could do live at the corner pocket. Like, what's the saddest time at a bar? Is it Monday morning, Monday afternoon?
It's Tuesday at 12:15 a.m.
Oh,
that's the saddest time.
That did hit. That went right through the rib cage into the heartstrings.
Yeah, that's you look around. You look around.
Hey man, I used to play poker at those times.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a reason, but that's a tough one. That's usually okay.
It was our first GM of the FM dial. That's why I was there.
Okay, this is. Then there's always the guy you know. You're like, he's in the same boat. How are you, Keith?
Good to see you again.
Well, we're both here, ain't we? Tuesday at 12:15.
These shots won't drink themselves, I guess, huh?
That is right, Tom. Yeah. Here's to you, buddy.
But that's where actually you bond with the bartending crew. Because,
true, because they're bored to tears and they want to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have some real talk. Yeah.
Hey, let's do this thing. I got to do some probables here in a second, but I should tell you that our friends at Power Mill are the reason we're able to do it. And they're awesome. And it is officially like now summer, guys. Get your kids in there. Let's go. They've got the camps going for baseball and softball. And what I usually bring up is the fact that they've got programs for every kind of player, every level of player. So if you've got a young lady who's really good at softball or one that's not, they've got a camp and instruction for every level of skill. Got a young baseball player who's a little uncertain of himself and he's getting ready to enter into, go to the big field, as they say, and see an upgrade in pitching and all of that and how nerve-wracking that can be.
Do you remember that?
I do. And I just got done watching it with my son. Yeah.
Wow. The big field was just amazing.
It's huge the first time you step out there. You're like, how's anybody ever hit the ball out of here? Yeah.
And how does anybody play third base?
Right. It seems like such a great
That is a long distance.
Yeah. So they have baseball training program that equip athletes of all ages and skill levels and specific, basically specific skills they're going to need to perform well and get the most out of their experience. I've got 27 different alumni in the majors, 45 years of experience. Over 2,000 kids have come through these programs. Power Mill Training Academy, can't speak today. PowerMillSports.com is what I was trying to tell you. Now, let's get to the problems.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
We're hanging on for dear life in Pittsburgh, buddy. Just 2 games above 500 after that prolific start.
But you know what? You made it through May.
Well, not quite. I will say this. It's May 22nd, and we're over 500.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're still on the wild card chase after Memorial Day.
Almost got to June.
There's 12 spots now every year in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. White Sox Guardians, and we did it without our best player. This whole thing has been done without our best player, who gets hurt in the first week of the season and breaks his ankle like an a-hole because he didn't know how to slide. But
say la vie. Maybe he was the thing that needed to go.
No, we don't have any pop. He was the only one who had the pop. Besides Reynolds, White Sox Guardians, Jimmy Lambert, Hunter Gaddis. We got the Rangers and the Pirates tonight. We got Dane Dunning and Luis Ortiz. Cardinals, Reds, Jordan Montgomery, Brandon Williamson, Blue Jays, Rays, Chris Bassett, Trevor Kelly, D-backs, Phillies, Tommy Henry, Zach Wheeler.
Tommy Henry. That's interesting.
Yeah, 1-1 with a 5.
Sounds like a boxer in the 50s.
Old Tommy Henry. Dodgers, Braves, Gavin Stone, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton's 5-3 with a 2.85. Unreal. Tigers, Royals, Michael Lorenzen, Brady Singer. We got the Giants and the Twins, John Brebbia, Bailey Ober. Stros, Brewers, Christian Javier, Corbin Burns, Marlins, Rockies, Edward Cabrera, Chase Anderson, Red Sox, Angels, Tanner Houck, Jaime Barea, and finally, A's, Mariners, Kyle Mueller, Luis Castillo. And that is a look at those that show result of the well. All right, buddy. I've almost completed season 2 of Better Call Saul. I'll get to season 3 tonight.
Man, things are happening now.
Yeah, they're happening. They're happening now.
What do you think of the
So Hector
character?
came into play, and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
Hector's here. Here we
Hector.
go.
Going Hector.
You know what I love is Nacho. I love him.
Yep.
He's my guy. Smart, good kind of criminal, solid.
What do you think of Howard?
I like Howard. Howard I hated, and then I grew to like. I'm like, oh, Howard, it's turning the corner.
The Howard journey is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. You go from look at this cheese ball. I'm still telling you my favorite moment. Well, there have been a lot of good moments, but my favorite moment early on is good old Slippin' Jimmy A. But then B, the billboard is when he decides to go with the perm and the billboard in the exact same the same font.
Yep.
When he looks up at that sign and he's so proud of himself in that exact, even with the tie raise and everything else.
So one of my prouder IMDb moments. You had one of these before IMDb existed with Richard Crenna.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you have to go get the Blockbuster tape to verify?
I want to
that you
bet.
were
I
correct?
want to bet. I was furious with my roommate at the time because he did not realize that I was correct. That Richard Crenna was the general or the sergeant or whatever from First Blood. Yeah,
Yeah, and all of the subsequent
and,
Rambos.
yeah.
And also Hot Shots. Wasn't he in Hot Shots?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
playing himself.
He plays himself. Yeah.
But I don't know the actor's name for Howard, but I knew immediately with the voice because it's a distinctive voice. And that show that, those creators do a great job of always getting great voice actors on top of actors.
Yeah.
That guy played Professor Lasky in Saved by the Bell the college years when I was a kid.
He did?
That was Kelly had an affair with a professor, and he was Professor Lasky. He had flowing locks, 90s mullet style. Same guy.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a real deep cut kind of a pull. Very proud.
By the way, Mario, I just flipped back over to the chat where I see your awesome quip.
That's too late in the day, though.
His was 2 PM.
Rest in peace, man.
Is he dead?
Yeah. We covered that.
Did we? I'd forgotten. It didn't impact me much, did it? But yeah, I forgot.
Not as much as Professor Lasky.
Well, I'm just telling you, yeah, those were tough times. Tough times. I remember that middle of the afternoon. They're like, Charles, good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Don't forget the Monday Smash tonight, 7:00. Look forward to seeing y'all. Peace.